What's up guys, it's Matt from TDM Style here. Welcome back to the channel for another review, and this week we're having a look at the concealer tool and the tinted moisturizer from the Stryx brand of cosmetics for men. So since we're here to talk about cosmetics today, I thought it was the perfectly appropriate time to wear my new Jeffree Star track jacket that my wife got me for Christmas. Yes. And you know, I figured because there's a pretty decent sized group of trolls out there who like to tell me that I must be gay based on my hair color and the clothes I wear. So here's another golden opportunity for you. Have at it, you fucking degenerates. But yeah, so today we're here to talk about Stryx. So this is a pretty young brand and they have just these two products right now. This is their concealer tool and their tinted moisturizer, and basically their whole thing is that they're trying to make cosmetics that are, quote, uniquely formulated for men's skin, and they're trying to make the packaging and stuff kind of discreet in such a way to make men feel comfortable about using these kind of things. So with that being said, let's jump right in and have a look at the packaging first. Each one of these products comes inside one of these kind of blue and white cardboard boxes, which I do really like the boxes actually. They feel really premium, they're high quality, and when you slide the inside of the box out, you've got this little insert, and then of course inside there is your product. Now, they did, I gave them a bunch of feedback on these products before I decided to film this review. So one of the things that they did mention to me is that they are working on slimming down the cardboard packaging a bit to reduce their kind of footprint about that, and especially for when guys are reordering, the boxes can be a bit much. So that may be changing slightly in the future. Now, as far as the packaging of the products themselves, the tinted moisturizer comes in this 1.76 ounce or 50 gram pump top tube. This is like a matte black color. And their concealer tool comes in this pen design, and it does actually have a functional clip on there for anybody who might want to use that. And this is 0.064 ounces or 1.8 grams. So as far as the packaging goes, I do like, I mean, it does look sleek, you know, like the matte black with the white text. Of course, the matte black on this, I find if you get tinted moisturizer on your hands and then you touch it, it can get all fingerprinted up like mine, but whatever. The pen design is interesting. It makes it, I guess, pretty easy to apply it, and the main thing that they mentioned with this is that a lot of guys like the design because it's so small, and they can, like, you know, keep one in their cup of pens at work, or they can put one in their briefcase or whatever. For me, that's not really a thing because these just stay on top of my shelf in the bathroom and I just use them before I leave the house, but I can see how, you know, if you wanted to bring one of these with you, the pen is a nice, easy design for that. Now, for the pricing on these, each one costs the same, so they are $29 each, or there is a kit of both of them for $48, and they do also offer the subscribe and save thing, so if you do that, you get 15% off. And they do offer free shipping on all of their orders, which is always really nice because shipping is just expensive, and so yeah, free shipping is always much appreciated. Now, as far as the shades on these, both of the products currently come in 3 shades. They have one called Light Cognac, they have Medium Mahogany, and then they have Dark Eclipse. And, you know, one of the first things that I mentioned to them in my initial feedback was that I think it's good that they have these 3, you know, different shades, but obviously, you know, if you look at bigger cosmetics companies and you look at their, like, foundations or whatever, they have, like, a shitload of shit, like there's a shade for everybody. So they did mention to me that they are working on adding additional shades in the future as well, because they do want to, you know, cover more skin tones for more guys. But another thing that they mentioned, and it is, you know, on their FAQ as well, they designed these formulas to be kind of adaptable. So if you use a little bit less or a little bit more product, you can get it to be, you know, a bit lighter or darker. So each shade can cover a kind of spectrum of skin tones. So the shades that I went with were Light Cognac, because the other ones just looked a little bit too dark for me. And they do have a thing on their website that if you weren't sure what to get, you can kind of compare, or you could even send them a photo of your skin and they could help you decide. So a couple more quick notes about their formulas before we actually get into the demo here. They are also formulated to be applied and blended without the need for like a sponge or a brush. I still use a sponge to blend them out because I find it just easier for me, but you can do it with your fingers, but more on that in a minute. They are also formulated to resist a bit of sweat and water, so they won't just go running down your face the moment that you start getting toasty. All right, so with all that out of the way, I'm gonna move the camera in closer, and then we're gonna actually crack into these bitches and apply them and show you guys how they work and how they look. All right, so we're ready to get started. So as I mentioned, I do like to use, I steal my wife's beauty sponge, and if you are gonna use one of these, you definitely wanna make sure that you moisten this up with some warm water first. And now we're ready to go. So I would recommend applying your Tinted Moisturizer first. So I'm gonna try my best to look like a beauty guru. I'm gonna put just one pump of that on the back of my hand. And this stuff, it is pretty thin, so it's easy to apply, and I usually just take some of my finger and just kind of dab it around first. I should probably get my hair out of the way. So, and I like to just kind of dab this around because then obviously it's easier to then blend it all together rather than just applying it in one big blob or what have you. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of this to my neck area as well, because one thing that you'll notice as you start experimenting with these type of things is that sometimes if you go too heavy-handed on your face, then you can tell that there's like a big color tone difference between your face skin and your neck skin. So now it's time to grab your blender and go to work. All right, so now that the Tinted Moisturizer is on, you can see already that it has reduced the appearance of my dark circles slightly. We've, kind of smoothed out our overall skin tone just to make it more even. We've, the little bit of kind of redness that I had over here is pretty well covered up. All right, so now we're gonna go in with the concealer tool. So take the cap off and then you can just crank that up to get a little bit out there. And so I'm gonna focus mostly on my under eye area because obviously dark circles, bitch. But if you had any other areas with, redness or razor burn or blemishes or something, that's another area that you can focus on with this. Another thing that I'll say, because I had tested like putting this on first before the Tinted Moisturizer, and having the moisturizer on first just makes this a little bit easier to apply, because since this is, it's solid, it does need to get a little bit warmed up before it glides onto the skin more easily. So having the kind of wet moisturizer, well, not wet, you know what I mean? Having the moisturizer on there first makes this easier to glide on, especially in delicate skin areas like under your eyes. So obviously, if you're new to cosmetics, this looks pretty wild. It looks way too light, right? But you'll notice concealers are meant to look like that, and once you blend that bitch out again, it's gonna look pretty good. So let's get back to blending. All right, so now that we're all blended out, I've given it a couple of minutes just to make sure everything gets nice and set and dried, so kind of reduce the shininess that is amplified by these lights here. So you can see there's definitely a major visible reduction in my dark circles and everything. My skin tone is nice and smoothed out, all that redness is gone. So I think we're looking pretty smooth. Now, as far as the longevity and the wear on these, I can definitely say that they'll last you all day. One thing that took a bit of getting used to for me, I like when I'm working or something and I've been like staring at my screen for too long, I tend to like rub my eyes and stuff. So you have to kind of try to manage that, because if you rub too hard, obviously some of it will come off. But as far as the kind of sweat-proof and semi-waterproof thing, yeah, I can go to the gym or whatever and get a good sweat on climbing on the rock wall, and these won't go anywhere. But with the semi-waterproof thing, I mean, obviously they are going to wash off when you wash your face at night, but I will definitely recommend you need a decent face wash, because water alone for me didn't really remove all of it. Definitely need a decent face wash, and if you really want to be sure, of course you can use a washcloth just to really kind of make sure that you get everything. All right, so overall thoughts on the Stryx Tinted Moisturizer and Concealer Tool Cosmetics. I like these. And now we're going to talk a bit about the whole like cosmetics for men thing and whatever, but as far as just straight up the formulas and the prices and everything, I think that these work quite well. They're very easy to use, and I think that the prices are good. Some people might look at like, oh, 29 bucks a piece, like that sounds expensive. But yeah, really, like, especially if you get the kit, 48 bucks for both, it's not bad. And you get a lot of product, like you don't need to use a lot, and so they'll last you a while. And for instance, like I have another color correcting cream from It Cosmetics, which is the one that I was using before I started trying these. And that one comes in this little like half an ounce tube, and I think that was like $60 by itself. So cosmetics are definitely an area where good ones cost you more, and it's definitely a get what you pay for type of situation. So, you know, with that in mind, I think for what these are and how their formulas work, I think that these are very well priced. So now we can talk a little bit about just, you know, kind of the marketing and the packaging and the whole like cosmetics for men versus cosmetics for whomever type of idea. So, you know, I'm a open-minded guy, and I'm of the opinion that, especially now, today, makeup is not just for women. Makeup is for everybody. And, you know, like you walk into a Sephora or an Ulta now or something, and you won't just see pictures of women on the walls. You see plenty of pictures of men. You'll see men working there. They've got male makeup artists and stuff. So it's definitely like, it's becoming much more normal and much more accepted, which is great. But there's definitely still, like, it's not totally, like, there's still some kind of a stigma. And so I think that that is really what they were going for here with the whole kind of like discreet and more masculine packaging thing. And while I think that super masculine packaging can be really overkill. But I get it, like they did kind of a middle of the road thing. Like it's not, you know, it doesn't have like pictures of guns and trucks and all their stupid garbage on it. It's just, you know, it's black, it's sleek, it's discreet, whatever. And it's also not anything super feminine or whatever. So I get that they kind of wanted to do a middle of the road thing. I think they succeeded in that. And I like that I think that their goal behind doing that type of packaging and that type of marketing is, like I said, to make more men feel more comfortable with the idea of like, yeah, I can use a concealer, I can use a tinted moisturizer to make my skin look nicer. So I appreciate that aspect. You know, I think skincare is super important. I wish I had known more about skincare as I was younger. I mean, you know, if you've watched any of my other skincare videos, you know that I dealt with really bad acne until I was like in my late 20s and finally got it remedied by a dermatologist. And so now I take really good care of my skin. And so not only, you know, having a good washing and moisturizing routine and everything, I do see the appeal of using cosmetics like these, especially when I'm recording and stuff, because like these dark circles ain't going anywhere. They're genetic. So, you know, cosmetics are designed specifically for that. Just cover them up, smooth everything out, and just make you look your best. And I think that nowadays that's what it's all about. Like everybody wants to look good, feel good, and you know, it's a good thing. And so while I don't think like male cosmetics or cosmetics for men is really like a necessary term, I kind of get that it's still a thing. And with these folks, I do understand that, you know, they formulated these specifically. They mention on their website, like, well, men's skin, you know, biologically speaking, is typically oilier and rougher and thicker than women's skin. And these were formulated with that in mind to just work well with that type of skin. So yeah, while I do hope and I do think that we'll get to a point, you know, in the very near future where makeup and cosmetics and whatever, like that stigma of like men using it will just be gone. It'll just be like, if you want to use cosmetics, fucking use them. Like, fuck it up, dude. Look your best. I do think that, you know, brands like this now are important because these are kind of helping to take a step forward in that direction. And I do think, you know, that these will appeal to a lot of guys. Some people might say like, maybe I'll try that out because it looks nice, you know, and they can definitely be a confidence booster, especially if you aren't always comfortable with how your skin looks. And, you know, I'm glad that they're looking to increase their line of shades and stuff in the future to offer, you know, coverage for even more guys, more skin tones and stuff. You know, I think that these guys are doing a cool thing, and yeah, I certainly think that they're worth taking a look at and trying them out. So that wraps things up for today's video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this and found it helpful. Please do stay tuned. Got plenty more content coming. I have Conmodo stuff coming next week. I don't know. I have just like so much stuff to get to. So to not miss any of that, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below to keep up with everything. And as always, thank you guys so much for coming by and watching, and we'll see you at the next one.